So I want to talk about self-scout for offensive coordinators as now we're getting into the season. You're going to have some of your own data to look at. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and share this video, and then, of course, follow me on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it today at Coach Bent. We talk a lot of football. But I wanted to go through some things that I like to do self-scout wise and how we look at data. I know that defenses are going to prepare for us. They're going to take our game tape. They're going to enter some data. I want to see what they see. I want to step out of myself and I want to look at us analytically, completely objectively, to see what they're looking at to prepare. And I want to know, where can we break tendencies? Where can we break formation tendencies? Where can we break down and distance tendencies, and possibly some personnel tendencies? We're going to do a self-analysis. We're going to look at the data, not emotion, not what we think. We're going to look at what's actually happened, and we're going to look and see, what are we doing well and what are we not doing well. With what we're doing well, we're going to look at, are we doing it enough, and how do we keep doing it well? All right. And then for things we aren't doing well, we're going to ask ourselves, can we fix it, or do we need to scrap it? All right. And the biggest deal is, I want to score more points. To score more points, we need more explosive and more momentum plays. The faster you can get the ball down the field with chunk plays, the more you're going to score touchdowns. All right. So this is from a dashboard that we use called Recon. It is really, really good data. And I've pulled up some things off of the various dashboards we use. So our defensive staff uses these same dashboards to prepare for opponents. I'm using them to self-scout what we're doing. And then, of course, there's some dashboards that I use. I talk about it in another video where we talk about how we game plan based on knowing what the defense is going to do. Well, these are some things that we found in a 3-game self-scout. We have 192 snaps. We were 64% run, 35% pass, with an average gain of 7.89 yards and a 32% conversion ratio, meaning 32% of those plays went for a first down or touchdown. All right. Now, when I look at our backfield set tendencies with pistol and when we're offset left, which we call lucky, you can see that we are pretty close to that 64-35. When we set the back in Ringo, we now move into a little more of a pass off, and it's because we're pistol based. We do offset the back for some things, but we have a tendency to throw some of our intermediate concepts to the right with our back offset that way. So these are some things we're looking at. I'm going to look at what our field zone tendencies are, and then I'm going to look at our down and distance tendencies. And it looks here, 1st and 1 to 3 is probably some goal line situations. Interesting to see that we're 33% run there. And then there's been, I think we probably had a couple penalties in there, and that's why that's all there is. But when you look at 3rd and 1 to 3, I see that our opponent's going to look at that and say, well, they only run the ball. Might be a good time for some play action. And then 3rd and 8, we might want to look at a draw. Might be a good time for a draw situation. I can look based on formation at what we tend to do. And this, I could scroll down this and look at every formation. I'm going to jump to the dashboard live for you here, but I can see our run pass percentage by formation. And then I can see our play frequency. And this is interesting because we do run some RPOs and we have passes built into our runs. So sometimes in our runs, we'll also see some passes. Up top in the upper right is a diagram that just kind of gives a picture of where we tend to execute our plays. And we're a little bit more of a field team and a strong side team. Looking at some overall play and formation data as far as the run game, we have 121 run plays, averaging 7.4 yards per carry, 30% conversion rate. And I can look by formation and see what percentage of plays we have gained over 5 yards. I'm going to look at RIP. We're going to go through and say, okay, we've been in this 9 times. Only 1 in 10 plays gains 5 yards or more. Why is that? I'm going to say the same thing with Rio Ram, with Lasso, with Late Nub, with Late Brinko. All these and we're a big formation team. All right, this is in 3 games. We've showed a lot of formations. We're going to go through and look at these formations and see why are we not having as much success. And then some of these other formations, what are we doing out of those that we're having success? When I look at our offensive plays, this is really good because it's going to tell me if there are some things that we need to run different. And we have different play names for plays that go right and plays that go left, and helps us with some tempo. Hammer and axe are our inside zone plays. We're an inside zone team. And when you look at hammer and axe, what do you see? We're at about 50% of plays over 5 yards. Axe is a little bit better than hammer. All right. And then we look at bread and butter. These are our counter plays. Butter seems to be working a lot better than bread. So we need to look at why that is. Is it we had this with power one year where power to the right was so much better than power to the left. And the reason was we had a much better guard pulling when we ran power to the right. Our left guard was a better puller, not a very good down blocker. Right guard was a great down blocker, not a great puller. All right. So we can analyze this and take a look. And then same thing when we're backed up, we need to look at what we're doing because it's pretty good. 8 and 10 plays gain 5 yards or more. So we got to look at that. And then in different, we can look at this for different field zones. And then we can look at our pass game. And we have a 60% completion rate, averaging 9.6 yards a pass for this 3-game stretch. And I take a look here and I see on the right hash, we're very field dominated. All right. So we're not doing much in the flat or intermediate. That's something our opponents sing. And I want to know, is that because teams are playing us, they're dropping coverage and leaving an invert to the boundary? Or is it something we're ignoring that boundary and we need to use it more? All right. We have a much better distribution from the left hash and the middle of the field. So that's something we want to look at. And then down below, we can see our play frequency, 90 and go are versions of 4 verticals. You can see we like to run our 4 verticals. This shows our completion percentage. All right. Pretty good completion percentage for your go routes and 4 verticals. And then we can see our average gain and our conversion rate. That means first down or touchdown. And then if we look over here, I've sorted by average gain in the middle. All right. So that I can see our plays that have the most average yards. And when I look at this, I see that we've only called a couple, and there's another 90, another 4 birds. You got to love it. You got to run 4 birds, guys. You got to take shots down the field. We're definitely taking shots down the field. So you start taking a look at this. You say, why have we only run this one time? All right. Why did we only run Hammerlock Phantom one time? Why did we only run Sky 90 one time? Why did we only run Y Sky T Bubble? All right. That's a bubble to our back out of the backfield. Why have we only done that one time when it was a 35-yard play and our running back in the backfield is really darn good? All right. And then I sorted by completion percentage. Again, what are these efficient plays? Most of these are quick game concepts. Well, why haven't we called them a little bit more? All right. Now, what I want to do, I want to jump in here and I'm going to just real quick jump into what this actually looks like. So this is the Recon dashboard, and I'm recording this on Zoom, so my internet doesn't always keep up. All right. But this gives you a look at our run pass ratios that I showed you. And I could click this by backfield set. I could click it by play if I wanted to. All right. I could click it by strength. All right. Now, next thing I want to click is efficiency. I spend a lot of time in efficiency. All right. The efficiency dashboard, I've got this pulled up by play. So it's going to show what plays we've run. And again, we have a different name for right and left. And then we have tags on top of it. All right. That are like, these are inside zone variations. But I can now see what percentage of these plays had a loss, had no gain, had a short gain, a medium gain, big gain, and explosive. All right. So I see something like Atari Go. We've run it 6 times. Maybe we need to run that a little bit more. I come down here and I look at axe kick. 1 in 5 is a big play. We've only run it 5 times. We've had 1 of each. All right. We need to take a look at that. Coke is an outside zone concept. You can see we have not run this very well. I want to know why. All right. What is lacking in this? I can sort these and say, what's our most explosive play? And when I see something that's 100% explosive and we've only run it once, we may want to look at that more. When I see something that's, where we have 1 in every 4 times we run a play, it's an explosive, or 1 in every 3, that's good. That's something we probably want to run more. And then I look at some of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and sort this the other way and just see if there's anything we've done a bunch of that we haven't had an explosive. All right. Everything so far is pretty much 1s and 2s. Here's a 5. We have not had an explosive. That's that outside zone to the left. All right. Why is that? I want to look right here. Hammer kick. We've run it twice. We've had a medium gain and we had a loss. All right. Hammer lock bend. 2 out of 3 haven't been very good. So we need to look at those. And this lets me know, like Sprite, we have not had an explosive. All right. That's something I want to look at. That's our outside zone play to the right. So our outside zone play hasn't been very good. Let's figure out what's going on with that. All right. And then I get down into, some of these things that we've done more, and we're seeing those explosive numbers tick up. So this just helps me be able to determine what we need to run more of, what we need to maybe run less of, what we need to look at. Because sometimes you'll get done and you'll think, because maybe you popped one play, something that you ran 8 times, 6 of them weren't very good, but you remember the one and it skews you. Or you had, 2 times where maybe you busted on a play, but overall it's been really, really good. Well, we can look at the data and know exactly what's going on. And then I'm going to look at the pass game. All right, I showed you the pass dashboard. So I'm going to click on this now. And again, I can change this. I can go by down and distance. Here I've got it by formation. I could click it by play and take a look and see, all right, what are we most effective with? So I can go through now and really dig into this data. All right, and you can see we've got a lot of play calls, a lot of different things that we've thrown the ball. And that's something else I'm looking at and saying, maybe we got a little too much here. Maybe we need to pare some things back. All right, so we can get better at some things. And then I go into the run game. All right, and when I go into the run game, again, I can look now. I'm looking at our plays that gained 5 or more yards by formation. All right, and then by play. And again, if I see a formation that we're in that, this rip, that's pro twins with tight end to the right, let's look at that. Let's look at late nub. All right, let's look at late Ringo. Let's figure out what we need to do, because we've been using those formations. And you can see this is the first 3 games of the year, and there's a lot of formations. All right. Now, we can look over here and we can say, all right, let's look at our plays. All right, let's right now, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's look at the plays that the highest percentage of 100%, we gained 5 yards. All right. Now, Z-Coke, 100%, 5 yards. But again, that's outside zone, but that's with our Z receiver off jet action. Well, that's a good thing. So our outside zone's better with the Z receiver running it. That's something we need to look at. All right. And I can go through here and see what plays have the highest percentage with 5-yard gains. All right. And then I can do it the opposite way and say what don't have 5-yard gains. And I want to see, well, here, T-Bread. All right. Our counter to the right. We just talked about this. Now we're getting up to where 50% with T-Hammer. Not bad. We'd like to be at 55 to 60. That's a good play. All right. When we're running something and 6 out of 10 times, we're going to get 5 yards, and 2 out of 10, we're going to get an explosive. That's really good. All right. And then I can go over here and I can look at when we're backed up, what percentage of plays are 5 yards. And I showed you some of this earlier. And then, of course, I can go down here and look at the radar and see that we need to work some things away from our strength. So that gives you an idea of some things that you can do to self-scout, so that you can take and look at the data, and you can use the reports that are in Huddle and Quick Cut and all that. And there's nothing wrong with those. I have found that instead of a PDF file, I want something I can click. All right, because I'm gonna see the data. I've already got the playlists I can look at. So I can click on this data and I can say, all right, let me look at all our Rios now and figure out what's going on. Let me look at our rips, figure out what's going on. Let me look at our play calls out of each of these things. If you're interested in recon, a guy named Danny Davis came up with this. we got to be an early adopter. We got to use it as he built it. He's a field artillery officer, just got done with his military commitment, and he's all in on recon now. And he started marketing this, and I want to help him get the word out because we had so much success with it. It helped us be able to make really good play calls, and more importantly, look at our data and be able to say, where can we do something that our opponent may not be prepared for. And I'm going to give you an example here, just one of the dashboards we used where we can look at based on down and distance, all right, an opponent, this is from an opponent we were getting ready to play. We can see how often they brought different pressure. If I click on a down and distance situation, the data populates. I know if they're playing zone or man. All right. But anyway, I'm going to put a link down there if you're interested in setting up a demo with Danny and Recon. Phenomenal guy. He went to West Point, one of the smartest people I know. He's working with some big time college programs. That's all I can say about that because he told me he can't even tell me who it is, but he got a couple signed up that are awesome, doing different stuff. He is a data and analytics guru, and he took battlefield intelligence and was able to find a way to use it for football. We started using it in 2018. I'm telling you, it made a difference. It saved us several hours on the weekend and helped us to score more points. So the self-scout's important. I'm going to take each week, I'm going to do a last 3-game self-scout. I'm going to do a season self-scout. When we get into district, I'm going to do a self-scout of all of our pre-district. And then when we start the playoffs, I'm going to do a self-scout of the season and then all of our district games. Hope this helps you out and it's something you can use. Again, like and subscribe.